What up? Thank you for tuning in to episode 22 of the Dealer Talk podcast. Technology. How critically important is technology for our industry in today's world? You know, it seems like there's always a new widget, there's always a new solution out there, but how effective is it really in bridging the gap between the purchase and the consumer? You know, video is one of those things that I personally feel is becoming more and more the preferred way for customers to engage, to communicate. And so I'm very, very excited to have this conversation today, not just because of this particular tool, but because of the video side of it. And I think that as we progress more and more and become more technologically advanced, I think that video is really going to be something that our industry is going to be able to capitalize on in a very big way. So I'm, again, very, very excited for this conversation. Make sure to take in some notes on this one. And let's get it going. Let's go to the episode. Here we go. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Dealer Talk. Today, we're going to be talking about a new piece of technology, a new way to communicate with consumers. And I'm very excited to have this conversation because it's video related, which I got to say, I think video is definitely becoming the preferred way of communication. Erik, what's up, dude? How are you?
Oh, great morning, Herb. Really, really well. Had 2 cups of coffee already. I'm pretty, well, my hands are sweating. If there's a little bit of shake in my voice, it's because I'm fully energized.
Right on, man. So it should be fun today then. Hey, man, so we're going to be talking about a new piece of technology. I had the opportunity to actually do a demo. I really like it. I think there's something there, especially for the automotive industry. But I wanted to get your take on video, man. Do you guys do video at your dealership? I know you're pretty active on social media, but from the standpoint of the dealer, of engaging with customers, what do you think about video? Are you using it? What are your thoughts?
I absolutely love I love it only because it's just where it's going. You know what I mean? And there's nothing wrong with embracing trends before they actually maybe are embraced by everybody else or are accepted by everybody else. So getting comfortable with what was initially uncomfortable is kind of the game. That's how you win in life.
No, yeah, I totally agree. I think that from the customer standpoint, a video allows them an opportunity to get a kind of the enhanced experience without ever even walking into the store. So if you can engage with that customer with video prior to their physical visit, I think that you're going to have a huge advantage because, number one, there's going to be the recognition part, but I think it's going to help you stand out. And we talk a lot about differentiators in the industry. And I just don't think that there's a lot of dealerships or dealership personnel that has really embraced video. Not to say that there are not stores out there that do it. There's definitely stores that do, but I'm talking about for the most part.
Yeah. What's curious too is, what is really the struggle? The struggle is that because we haven't used it yet. The younger generation who are on their phones all the time, and quite frankly, so are we now. We've been conditioned that way. The ability to be on video, talking via video, is quite natural for them. That's just how it is. So embrace is not really a question. Do you want to be relevant going into the future is really the question. So the part where you have to catch up sucks, but that's just that's what we're left with. We really have to push to get over the uncomfortable part and just use it for what it is. So it's just a much more, frictionless environment.
Yeah, man. No, and it's cool too. The our guest for today is somebody that has dealership experience. So she's aware of kind of like I don't want to say pitfalls, but the resistance in the beginning, and so it's great that this product is available, this platform is available, because from her perspective, right, she has the experience in the industry, and so I think that gives her a little bit of an advantage, right?
Yes.
So, man. So let's get into it. So our guest for today has tons of experience in the automotive industry, from selling cars to other roles within the dealership. Now she's one of the investors and working on developing this new technology, this new product called Accion. Again, I had the opportunity to look at it myself. I really like it. I think there's tons of potential there. So I'm just excited to have the conversation and explore this a little bit further and be able to talk to our listeners about it. Without further ado, let's introduce our guest for today, Miss Anna Young. Anna.
Hello.
How are you? Good morning.
Welcome.
Hello.
Not only is it super early for all of us because we're on the same time, but you're probably a little jet lagged, right? You just got back from a international trip a couple days ago.
Let me tell you, I flew around the world a time and a half.
Wow.
I am a little jet lagged, which gives me a little bit of an advantage. I woke up in time because it's like 7 p.m. for me right now at 7 a.m. in the morning. How are you guys?
We're good. We're excited to have you. We're excited to have you on the show. As I mentioned in the little intro there with Erik, I'm just excited to have this conversation about the technology and talk about how it could potentially help dealers. So before we get into that, though, can you give us just a little bit of a recap on your background, just for the listeners, please?
Sure. As you mentioned, I've been in the car business for a while. Started as a salesperson, and 2 years later, finance manager. Then a year later, finance director, and stayed in that role for a while. Then ran a dealership, a smart car dealership, for a while as a GSM, and then back to finance, and then left the bees for my current gig. Was looking for some promising startup to invest in, and found it. Weepy! It's called Accion, as you mentioned, and basically now I work in a marketing role for the company, marketing advisory, what have you, and I'm just blown away by the product, by the culture, by the values of the company, and by what it can do for not just car business, but retail and other services, because the application of this application, pardon me, is pretty limitless. Car dealerships can use it, shrinks can use it, flower stores can use it, the jewelry stores, art galleries, medical professionals, various services, whoever. But because I have such a warm and fuzzy space in my heart for car business, I'm trying to get car dealerships to use it first and see the advantage and be trailblazers and pioneers of this retail evolution. Because that's how it's going. Look at the explosion of video commerce anywhere. Just go on YouTube and see people selling, I don't know, pearls or whatever. Video commerce is all over the place, and all over YouTube and such channels. Private individuals peddle whatever they, whatever is the offer du jour, And why is car business lagging behind? I don't know.
So let me ask you this really quick before we get into the, because I definitely want to make sure that we cover the how, right, and how it works and all that stuff. I want to make sure that we try to paint the clearest picture for the audience here. But before we get into that, let's start with the why. Like, why Accion? Why for the automotive industry? Like, give me the specifics on that.
Okay, well, we do like to start with the why indeed. Well, there are a few whys. Number one, in the recent decade, let's say maybe two, the communication with our thumbs hijacked the communication with our voices. And this is really upsetting because it leads to basically disappearance of human connection. One human cannot really connect with another by a text or email because there is an unlimited room for misinterpretation. There is no transfer of emotion. And speaking of emotion, I think it's about time that we get back to normal human communication, the way humans are supposed to be connected, and replace the emojis with real emotions, because that's what happened. Emojis hijacked our life. We need to go back to sharing real emotions instead of, smiley faces or, crap emojis. So that is number one. Number two, the why number two, Luki, as far as car business is concerned, dealerships spend millions of dollars outfitting their facilities so they look inviting and comfortable for their walk-ins. But when it comes to online customer engagement, the online customer suddenly doesn't have the same value. And why? Why is it that online customer cannot feel just as welcome and just as comfortable as a walk-in who barges through the physical door of the physical store? Why do online customers get the same treatment whether they go on Bentley website or Kia website? And we all know what the treatment is. A little window pops up saying, with the picture of a smiley girl saying, "Hi, I'm Kathy, Laura, Ashley," whatever. By the way, Kathy, Laura, and Ashley look the same in the picture, wherever you go. So the girl needs to decide who she is. Anyway, so whether you go on Bentley or Kia website, you get this chat window. What most website visitors don't realize is that they're chatting to a machine. And these machines usually can't answer simple questions. How do I know? I tried. To be precise, 314 times to date. And I went on 314 dealerships' websites. And I chatted with Kathy, Laura, Ashley, Corey, whoever in that little pop-up window. And I asked them all the same question. Which one of your models has best MPG? And 7 to 37 minutes later, I left that chat in 99.3% of the cases without an answer.
That's a ton. But
can you believe that?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, there is no answer. They don't give me an answer. They dance around simply because those chats are not pre-programmed for that particular question. Now, if I, in many of these cases, not whole 314. But in many of these cases, right after chatting, I picked up the phone, got the salesperson on the phone, asked the same question, got the answer.
Yeah.
Okay. And so basically, and again, I tried variety of dealerships. I tried Bentley, I tried Kia, I tried any other make out there. I covered pretty much everything multiple times per make and got the same treatment. That was my research. Okay, so this is another why. If this why is not enough, here is why number 3. While these real, interested, ready to buy customers are browsing the website, wasting their time with chatbots, there are real, hungry, eager, knowledgeable salespeople smoking in the alley, having nothing to do. And why? Why not put them to work on their downtime on Tuesday afternoon when there are no walk-ins? When there are no walk-ins in the dealership, there is still plenty of real interested and ready-to-buy customers browsing that dealership's website, getting to talk to a machine, not getting their answers. And if I was a real customer, not getting my answers from a chatbot, I would assume that the dealership just hired an incompetent person, because remember, I don't know that I'm talking to a machine. I think I'm talking to a real individual. So I would think it's an incompetent person who works in that dealership. So my opinion of this dealership is already down. And then I waste 7 minutes not getting the answer to a simple question. So how is that for all the whys?
No. I think that's a really valid point, because dealerships, they'll tend to view, even if it's an unanswered chat, somebody's chatted with the dealership and nothing's gone unanswered back to the customer, we tend to view that as engagement. That's not really engagement, right? It's definitely not a beneficial engagement. Right. So there's really there's a validity to what you're saying. It absolutely makes sense. My question is this. I mean, chat boxes right now, they're kind of the new kid in the block. So therefore, they're big and shiny and brand new, and oh my gosh, they're sparkle, and it's a new toy for us to use, a new tool to use. Do you think that's something that's going to continue on? Is there a better way to do that, or is it something it'll come back to the one-on-one engagement which you represent, what Optimum represents? I mean, do you think that's real, or do you think it's a matter of time for a better chat box?
Well, Erik, they don't call it artificial intelligence for nothing. These 314 dealerships I reached out to and interacted with their chatbots now know that there is this kind of question, and they learn. So eventually they will get pre-programmed to answer, which one of your models has best MPG. I think artificial intelligence is here to stay, but I see it in my 20-year-old daughter, who grew up with a phone basically super glued to her palm. These kids are, getting hungry for human connection. They're kind of done with this whole, thumb communication nonsense. They want to hear each other's voices. They want to see each other's faces, and they realize how ginormously wasteful the written communication is versus communication with a voice. It takes, 17 minutes to make plans to go to movies if you text each other, and it takes, 37 seconds if you call each other to make the same plan. right? So, artificial intelligence will stay. Only the only question is what kind of application it's suitable for. Now, as far as the car business is concerned, buying a car is not something people do every day. It's an important purchase. For some, it's, a very big decision. And people spend a lot of time doing their research, etc. And, when I buy a bag of nails, I don't care if somebody smiles at me. I go online, I buy a bag of nails, it arrives, and there goes my shopping experience, and I don't care because I spent the whole $2.78, and, I got it fast and furious, weepy. But when I'm about to drop 40, 50, $127,000, yeah, I want people to kind of dance around me. I want to feel welcome. I want to feel like a VIP. I want people to answer my question instantly. And by the way, let's also remember what happens after the chatbot experience. The chatbot tries to collect my information, phone number, email address, whatever. It passes it to the intranet department, and intranet department gets back to me. If I'm lucky, I don't know, 15 minutes later or 2 days later, or you ready for it? 47 days later. I got that going too. And they still don't answer my question. Which one of your models has they sent me an email saying, "Hi, my name is Elliot. I'm an internet director here at blah, blah, blah Motors. Let me know if I can be of service." I'm like, "Elliot, it's been 47 days since you could be of service."
Yeah, man. By that time, that person's already 30 days into their new car.
All right.
That's crazy, man.
I already made my first car payment, and 1,000 miles later, thank you for your prompt response. Ha ha ha.
Yeah, okay.
So anyways.
Sorry to interject here, because I think we can all agree that the chatting experience at the dealership level is not the best, right?
No.
I mean, I agree with everything you said. From the lack of personalization to the responses, I totally agree. In some cases, I've actually advised some of the stores that I consult with to just turn it off completely, because what it does, it creates a bad experience for the customer before they've even walked into your store, right? So if they say, "Man, if they can't even respond to me on this chat, how is my purchasing experience going to be?" So I'm with you.
Herb, listen to this. I don't mean to jump in, but listen, chats. The chat box. It's kind of like it actually amplifies. It's the same interaction. It's like if you posted something online and you get a lot of likes. It's the same kind of feeling you get off of that. You're like, "Oh, okay, fantastic. People are actually engaged." No. They just are maybe acknowledging that you're there. I mean, it's really.
It's so wasteful.
Yeah.
Because like the dealership that sells, let's say, 400 cars a month, they may have 10 to 20, you ready for it, 1,000 people browsing their website in the same month. This is crazy. This is a ginormous potential wasted.
No, I agree. But so that leads me to I'm thinking about ROI for decision makers that are listening in, right? So, and I know we're going to talk about the tool itself here, the platform itself in a moment. But can we pose the scenarios, or can you share with us some of your success stories with it? Can you talk about how much more engagement dealerships are seeing with this? What about return on investment, things like that?
Right. Okay. Well, let me give you use cases. The obvious one is pre-sale. When the customer just getting ready, they have questions. They want to see certain features of the car. And you know how people is, car business comes with a stigma. People don't want to come in. But when they know the guy, they want to come in. They're more inclined. So here is your first case scenario. A person is browsing the website. They click the widget that our widget that the dealership places on their website. The salesperson's phone rings. Only it's not a phone call; it's a video call. The salesperson picks up the phone with a smile and wave. He waves. He welcomes that online shopper into the showroom. We call it opening digital doors to physical stores. So basically, it's a connection of online experience with physical store experience. It's like being there, only you're on your couch. So the customer can ask questions. The salesperson can show certain features of the car physically, as in approach the vehicle and show live certain features of the car. And that's your scenario number one. Scenario number two, post sale. You know how the cars are very complicated, and the delivery concierge, does his or her best to show all the features of the vehicle to the customer who just purchased it. And 2 days later, the customer calls and says, I have no idea how to, turn my whatever on. And the delivery concierge can then connect with this customer on Accion, on our platform. And instead of customer coming in, customer can see the feature they forgot how to use on the video call. Number three, used car manager. Now, if any used car managers are listening to this podcast right now, I'll say 2 words that will make you cringe. Blind trade. Woo-hoo-hoo. You know how a customer calls and says, oh, my car is perfect. And then they bring it in and suddenly the whole deal falls apart because the perfect car is a POS and it's $8,000 less of traded value. And the whole deal falls apart. And then you get 1-star Yelp review saying, everybody in this dealership is a bunch of crooks. I would give them 0 stars if I could, right? So familiar scenario, right? With Accion, a customer can actually connect with the used car manager, push the button on their phone, flip the camera around, and give the used car manager a walk around for their trade. So the used car manager can guess, a little better, and the deal will not fall apart over $200-300 difference, if any. Service department, jeepers. Absolutely, Accion call to service department, and if customer has a question about some light that popped up on the dashboard, or a technician wants to show customer something that's wrong with the car, okay. Finance, it's a little less applicable, but still, if a customer is unsure about their credit history and they feel uncomfortable about coming to dealership and being embarrassed about being declined, finance manager can verify the customer's identity. If we have a cosigner situation, we can verify the identity of the cosigner on the video call without cosigner flying in from Vermont to Los Angeles. I mean, enough?
So, okay. No, I mean, those are all really good scenarios where like, again, I did a demo so I could see how all that fits, right? So, okay, let's talk about it, right? So tell us about Accion. Tell us how it works. Give us the spiel.
Okay. So basically, in simple terms, as I mentioned before, Accion is an instant live video connection for online shoppers to available salespeople and service providers at brick and mortar location. The way it works, we install a widget on the dealership's website. The widget is called Face2, as in face as a word and 2 as a numeral. And instead of clicking Chat with Us button on the website, the customers click the Face2 button. When customers do that, the salesperson's or whoever's phone rings, and it's a video call. The salesperson accepts the call. We hold customers' privacy in very high esteem. It's customer's choice to be seen. Customer can be directed to turn their camera on. If they do that, it's a two-way video call. Otherwise, it's a one-way video call. Through that connection, a salesperson can answer questions, show a vehicle. The customer can flip the camera, their camera around and show their trade-in. This connection is unlike any other because it comes with integrated features, which are patent-pending technology. Nobody else has it. And the features are appointment scheduling without ever leaving the site of your customer. So basically,
when you say the site, I just want to make sure that this transfers clearly to the listeners. When you say never leaving the site, you mean never leaving the Accion platform.
That's right. Yeah, you stay on the call and you see each other's smiley faces, and on the little overlap screen, you are scheduling an appointment as you're talking and smiling at each other. So you can schedule an appointment. The salesperson can send requests for customers' information, which customer may decide to share or decline sharing. And the information is shared piece by piece, as an email address, phone number, physical address, if let's say the documents need to be delivered or the salesperson wants to go pick the customer up for a test drive. The deposit on the vehicle can be put right through the app. So you don't have to exit the call screen or, jump to a different app. Everything is done through one platform. It's called Accion. We also have more features coming up, but I'll keep the suspense going. So basically, it's a one-stop shop. Everything is done on the same platform. Basically, in the time it takes to ask a chatbot the question, the connection is established, the smiles are shared, the questions are answered, the appointment is scheduled, the deposit to hold the car is taken, and everybody goes home happy.
Right on. So
what's the success rate on that thing? Do you have any stats you can tell us what the success rate is on it? Because it's pretty fascinating, actually.
We don't have enough data yet because, the progress is a little slow coming. We have few dealerships piloting it, a couple in New York, 4 in New York, 1 in California. I just don't have enough data yet.
So obviously, an apparent question, or I don't know if apparent is the right word, but a question that comes to mind that I'm sure a lot of decision makers would be thinking also is customer engagement, right? Because, if all of a sudden they get dinged with a video call, it's, like whenever I get somebody trying to call me on FaceTime, it's always like, well, that's kind of weird, So.
Well, the biggest difference from FaceTime here is that Accion connection does not require any prior communication. Any other video platform with pretty much every other video platform does, as in two parties need to connect and exchange information and what have you. And of course, none of the platforms has features that we do. By the way, I haven't mentioned, Accion connects to the dealership CRM. So whatever information is shared by the customer, be it phone number, email address, whatever, and scheduled appointment, all goes into the dealership's CRM.
Wow, that's a neat feature, I'm sure, for dealers. What's the training like? Because that's the other thing. Implementation, it's always tricky at dealerships, right? Management could be totally bought in. But then getting that implemented seems there's a lot of deals that fall apart because of that part of it. So what do you guys do?
Right. Yeah, a lot of babysitting is involved indeed. But the platform is very easy to use. It's intuitive. I'm not the most tech savvy person, and God knows, but this I figured out and became very proficient with very quickly. The idea here is, basically, I think a lot of it depends on who is using it. Because if you give it to 5 to 10ers, the salespeople who sell 5 to 10 cars, you will probably have lesser success rate. If you give it to a star team, you probably will have much better use of the technology because, the stars of the dealership are more inclined to try new things and take their customer experience and customer engagement to the next level. 5 to 10 is just there by the door, kitchen and burning ups.
Don't you find that you get a lot of resistance just from the salespeople itself or the BDC department when it comes to video? Like,
no, everybody gets super excited. Let me put it this way: in hundreds upon hundreds of people, my sales team and me personally talk to, not a single person, be it the decision maker at the dealership or a salesperson, shrugged their shoulder and said, "Meh." Everybody demonstrated just extreme, unadulterated excitement, but just like everything else, it's a matter of habit. I remember when I started in car business in 98, we didn't even have computer technology back then. We didn't have CRM per se. I had a leather-bound sales developer, which was, a special book for $39.99 plus tax. I bought it. Okay. And it was a matter of habit to, log your customers in it, etc. Then came CRM, and of course, dealer principals and sales managers, me included, were busting everybody's chops about using the CRM, mastermind and such. How many times a day GSM runs around the floor like chicken with no head. Why are you on your Facebook? Why are you on your Instagram? Why are you not on Mastermind? Still. And it's been 10 years of Mastermind, if not more, right? So just like everything else, it's a matter of habit. And those who, utilized the technology are selling 20 to 30 to 40, 50 cars a month.
what about?
I know salespeople who make $500,000 a year.
What about reporting? How does that look for the
reporting? Yeah, we have the entire dashboard available for general managers or whoever is on the task, and that dashboard shows how many hours salespeople were available, because the license for the product is designed in such a way that up to 10 devices can be available simultaneously. So if 10 customers are simultaneously clicking that phase 2 button, 10 devices simultaneously can answer. And of course, the license can be doubled to tripled if you have a dealership with 50 salespeople, buy 5 licenses and have all 50 of them answering Accion calls for all I care. Now, if each salesperson makes him or herself available 3 hours a day times 10 devices, it's 30 hours of availability a day. So we, in our dashboard, the sales manager of GSM can see how many hours people were available, how many calls went through, how many were answered, how many were missed, how many of those that were missed were pinged back, as in the customer received the ping back, notifying him or her that the salesperson is now available and encouraging the customer to try the call again. And how many requests for information were sent, how many were answered. I mean, it's extremely comprehensive. How many appointments were scheduled and for when, and boy, let me catch my breath.
No, I mean, look, it's awesome. Like I said, I really liked the when I did the demo, I really liked what I saw. I think there's some potential there. Obviously, that's up to the case of every dealership, right, to see if it's that they would want to implement and look at. But I'm glad that we're having the conversation. We like to get at least 1 or 2 new pieces of technology or solutions on the show every season. So I'm glad that we're talking about Accion. We talked about smart bots earlier in the season. So, these are things that as an industry, we should be definitely paying attention to. Anything that we can do to get an edge is really going to be advantageous. So
let me tell you where smart pioneering, trailblazing leaders of car business can go to get more information and sign up. We'll contact them. We'll be happy to do the demo. I have district managers who are extremely proactive. So basically, if you want to get more information, you go on cars.octium.com. It's cars.octium.com. cars.octium.com, and scroll through, see what you can learn, and if you have questions, contact us. If you don't, just sign up. We'll reach out to you. We provide also salespeople with personal links that they can add to their email signatures or text messages or social media. So salespeople and other dealership personnel who want to be a little more proactive with using Accion and really engaging like human to human, face to face with their customers, get the whole bunch of marketing support from us, and links. Personal links is just the least of it.
Right on. And we'll put that on the notes too, so you can check it out there. So Anna, great to have you on the show. Great conversation. Thank you so much for talking about Accion and introducing that to our audience. There's one question I ask everybody that comes on the show, and that question is, where do you see the automotive industry headed in the next 5 years and why?
Well, hopefully more towards reducing that stigma, because it's getting really old. The car business got bad rap back in the day, and even though it completely changed and did 180 about face, the stigma is still there. Customers still think we all are crooks. Customers still don't really want to come in, and that has got to change. I really hope that Accion will be that one of hopefully few pieces of technology and evolution that will help car business overcome that stigma and connect with customers on the whole new level and be leaders in retail evolution.
Right on. Thank you so much for that. Again, make sure to check the notes. I'm going to put some additional information on how you can reach and get in touch with Anna and learn more about Accion. And then I just wanted to make a quick announcement and give a quick shout out to Arthur Castillo. He's going to be doing our takeover episode where he's going to be taking over, doing his own thing. So just want to ask everybody to stay tuned, tune in on that one, show him some support. Really excited to see him get on here and share with our listeners. That's all we have for today, folks. Thanks so much for tuning in. Really appreciate it. And as usual, we'll talk later. So you made it all the way to the end. Thank you so much. Just want to remind everybody to go to the website at dealertalk.biz. Leave us your questions. Give us your feedback. We really appreciate it. And we'll talk later.